Good evening and welcome to our October board meeting. Thank you for quieting down. The Board of Trustees of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District is now convened in the regular meeting on Monday, October 10th, 2016 in the boardroom of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Instructional Support Center, 10300 Jones Road, Houston, Texas at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by sections 551.071 to 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on CFTV Channel 16 and CFTV online on the district website. They will also be rebroadcast throughout the month on Channel 16, as well as being available as video on demand on the website. For the tape to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully request that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or are in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in our district. I'd also like to take an opportunity to recognize our Community Leadership Committee members who are in attendance this evening. Alan Quintero, could you stand please, wave? Emily Donaldson and Kelly Ray. Thank you. We also have a Boy Scout with us from Troop 1283, Stephen Griffin. He's working on his communication badge. Could you stand, Stephen, so we could recognize you? I want to take a moment and mention that the board has made a decision to substitute a moment of silence for our previous prayer presented by a member of the administration. We've decided to pray prior to the public meeting in private and then observe a moment of silence in the public meeting. There are a number of reasons for this, and I respectfully request that the audience honor our decision and observe that moment of silence with us. Please stand and join me in a moment of silence that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Board member Tom Jackson will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience.
Our vision statement: learn, empower, achieve, dream, lead. Our mission statement: maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be 21st century global leaders.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. We'll now move on to the special recognitions portion of the agenda. Our first presenters, Roy Garcia and Bevan Gordon. The board will recognize Harleen Oshler, RN, Hopper Middle School, and Emma Aceto, Health Science Technology teacher at Cypress Ranch High School, for being recognized by the American Heart Association as a Heart Saver Hero.
Good evening, President Mangoya, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry. It's my pleasure tonight to honor two Cy-Fair employees who acted courageously and swiftly to offer life-saving aid at a CFISD high school graduation in June. Harleen Eschler, registered nurse at Hopper Middle School, and Emma Aceto, Cy Ranch teacher, often work to provide first aid to students, employees, and community members at large Berry Center events. On a particular occasion, Harleen and Emma responded to a community member in distress. They performed two-person CPR and applied an AED, which delivered a life-saving shock to the community member's heart. The rapid response, assessment, and delivery of CPR and AED resulted in a positive outcome. Thank you, Harleen and Emma, for performing the heroic act of CPR and helping to save a life within our community. In recognition of your courage, we'll present you both with the American Heart Association Heart Saver Hero Award. At this time, will family and friends of Harleen and Emma please stand so we can recognize you?
Our next presenter is Dr. Linda Macias. The board will recognize the following campuses who earned the Superintendent's Incremental Growth Award based on star performance in the 2015-16 school year.
Good evening, President Mangoya, Dr. Henry, and Board of Trustees. It is my honor to present to you this evening the recipients of the Superintendent's Incremental Growth Award. Dr. Henry established the Superintendent's Incremental Growth Award last year to acknowledge campuses who have excelled in meeting his goal of eliminating the achievement gap through incremental growth on the STAR assessments. The criteria used to earn this award is more rigorous than those used in state accountability. For example, for an elementary school to earn this award, they exhibited growth in third grade reading, fourth grade reading, fifth grade reading, third grade math, fourth grade math, and so on. So in all content areas and every grade level tested. As I'm explaining each level of recognition, you will notice a common thread: increased performance of our economically disadvantaged students. The bronze level of the Superintendent Incremental Growth Award is earned through growth in the economically disadvantaged students, again in all content areas and all levels tested. So tonight we honor the following campuses who earned the bronze level of the Superintendent Incremental Growth Award. Farney Elementary, Principal Tricia Riley. Reed Elementary, Principal Candy Bond. Wilson Elementary, Principal Tamara Felder. And Anthony Middle School, Principal Sherma Duck. Faculty or staff members from these campuses that are in the audience, please stand so that we can also recognize and congratulate you. Congratulations, bronze level. The silver level of the Superintendent's Incremental Growth Award is earned through growth in the economically disadvantaged group and African American or Hispanic groups, again in all content areas and all grade levels tested. Tonight we honor the following campuses who earned the silver level of the Superintendent's Incremental Growth Award. Danish Elementary, Principal Kelly Dalton. Haregrove Elementary, Principal Dorinda Klein. Hancock Elementary, Principal Lisa Archuleta. Tips Elementary, Principal Carrie Huff. Cypress Ranch High School, Principal Bob Hull. And this is the second year that Cypress Ranch earns this award. Cypress Springs High School, Principal Cheryl Hendry. This is also the second year that Cypress Springs earns this award. And Jersey Village High School, Principal Ralph Funk. If there are any faculty members or staff members from these campuses in the audience, please stand so we can also recognize and congratulate you. Thank you, silver level winners. The gold level of the Superintendent's Incremental Growth Award is earned through growth in the economically disadvantaged, African American, and Hispanic groups, so all three now. Again, in all content areas and all grade levels tested. Tonight, we honor the following campuses who earned the gold level of the Superintendent's Incremental Growth Award. Duryea Elementary, Principal Kenneth Hendry. Francone Elementary, Principal Dr. Tanya Gorey. Cypress Falls High School, Principal Becky Denton. And Cypress Lakes High School, Principal Sarah Hardy. Faculty and staff members from these campuses that are in the audience, please stand so we can recognize you and also congratulate you. Congratulations to all of our campuses that earned the Superintendent's Incremental Growth Award.
Thank you, Dr. Macias. All right, the superintendent will make remarks and announcements, including the honors and achievements earned by the staff and students in recent weeks. Dr. Henry?
Thank you, Madam President, and what a honor and a privilege it is for me to be surrounded by such great leaders, and we have about 70 other campus leaders across this district that I'm really thankful for the work they do on behalf of students and families every day. So congratulations to you and all of our campus leaders. CFISD held its 23rd Annual Wall of Fame Honorees of Distinction Award ceremony honoring 12 recipients, as well as our 2014-15 Board of Trustees. The following recipients were recommended for earning professional recognition at the state or national levels during the 2015-16 school year. Laura Alexander Wilson, Terry Bruner, Nicole Dominguez, Roy Garcia, Brian Hutchinson, Frankie Jackson, Mary Maxwell, Erin Rose Myers, Brian Moses, Sarah Sanders, Karen Smith, and Matthew Wells. Additionally, we presented the 2015-16 Friend of Education Award to Terry Wheeler, CEO of Cypress-Fairbanks Medical Center Hospital, a community member who has gone above and beyond to help enhance the educational experience of our CFISD students. A large sign in the lobby of Flowtech Industries' Houston corporate office displays the corporation's guiding principle, making a difference. When the opportunity came to enter into an adopt-a-school partnership with Fraser Elementary School, Flowtech put the principle into action. CFISD's Adopt-a-School program pairs schools with community and business partners like Flowtech Industries to utilize the resources of the community to strengthen and enrich the quality of education for students. 4 CFISD music groups were named winners in the Foundation for Music Education's 2016 Mark of Excellence Award. CFISD's recommended winners were selected from among 236 entries from 36 states. The Hamilton Middle School Symphonic Band, directed by Jamie Cabot, was selected as a commended winner in the Mark of Excellence National Wind Band Honors Project. The Salyards Middle School Symphonic One Band, directed by Joe Glass, was selected as a commended winner in the Mark of Excellence National Wind Banners Honors Project. The Cook Middle School Percussion Ensemble, directed by Michael Dick and Jonathan Carr, was selected as a commended winner in the Mark of Excellence National Percussion Ensemble Honors Project. And the Langham Creek High School Wind Ensemble, directed by Gloria Ramirez, was selected as the commended winner in the Mark of Excellence National Wind Band Honors Project. 4 CFISD teachers have been awarded hundreds of dollars to enhance their classrooms for local students as part of the Cy-Fair Federal Credit Union's Extreme Classroom Makeover Competition. According to Cy-Fair FCU President and CEO Cameron Dickey, the credit union's annual Extreme Classroom Makeover Competition is an opportunity to encourage and empower local teachers who often invest their own personal resources to give students the very best learning experience possible. Dean Middle School hosted the Texas Association of Student Councils District 7 through 13 fall meeting at the Berry Center, welcoming more than 400 students from more than 20 Houston area middle schools. Student council members learned about the Donate for Life State Project, participated in student share sessions, and enjoyed a great keynote speaker. Los Angeles Sparks forward Nneka Ogwumike, a 2008 Cy-Fair High School graduate and former All-American at Stanford University, was named the 2016 WNBA Most Valuable Player. Nneka earned 31 of 39 first-place votes after leading the Sparks to a 26-8 record. And I would also add she's playing in the championship series, and they won their first game last night. So congratulations to Nneka. To Roy Garcia at this time to make an introduction.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. President Mangoya and Board of Trustees, it's always exciting when we can introduce not only to you but also to our Cy-Fair community our new principals. And tonight we have a new principal to introduce to you. That is Mrs. Patricia Myers, who was named principal of Moore Elementary School in August. Patricia received her Bachelor of Music from Oklahoma City University and her Master of Education and Principal Certification from Lamar University. She has 25 years in the education profession. She served as a teacher in Midland for 9 years and then came to Cypress-Fairbanks, where she served as a teacher for 6 years at Owens Elementary. And I'd like to add that she was selected as a spotlight teacher while at Owens. Patricia also served as an instructional specialist for 6 years and as an assistant principal for 4 years at Owens. When Patricia is not working, she enjoys spending time with her family, cooking, entertaining, and decorating for the holidays. Up on that. Patricia and her partner Janet have one daughter, Alexandra. Alexandra is a sophomore at Washington University in St. Louis. Please join me in congratulating Patricia Myers on her new leadership opportunity.
There we go. Thank you. Dr. Henry, President Mangoya, and members of the board, I just want to thank you for this incredible opportunity that you have bestowed upon me to be the new principal at Moore Elementary. In the short time that I have been there, I have absolutely fallen in love with the students and the staff and the parents there. It is an incredible community. I know that there is a tremendous legacy of leaders that have come out and principals that have come out of that school, and I have big shoes to fill, but I'm humbled by the opportunity to be there. I want to take an opportunity to introduce my family, my partner, Janet Kramer, who is also a teacher in the district. This is her 30th year in the district, and is... And as Roy said, we have a daughter who graduated from Jersey Village High School in 2015. She is a sophomore at Washington University in St. Louis. Needless to say, she's not with us tonight. My parents, who have joined us from New Mexico, and some of you may know that my original board announcement was postponed from September because they came and my mom took a little tumble. So the good thing is that she's well on the road to recovery, and they're here from New Mexico with us tonight to join in this celebration. Then I just have some very special dear friends with me tonight, my staff at Moore, my former staff and dear friends at Owens, and two very important mentors, two former principals of mine, Amy Frank and Laura Barrett, who I have gained incredible wisdom from. And I look forward to gaining more wisdom from my current mentor, Donna Harden, who is here this evening as well. So I appreciate the support and this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Congratulations, that's wonderful. It is we usually take a short break right at this time so everyone can give congratulations to all our honorees, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to limit it to about 5 minutes. Thanks.
I know.
Thanks for being here.
All right. We're about to get started. All right. We're about to get started. At this time, we'll have our board comments. I'm starting down on this side. Anyone want to make a comment?
Good evening. I just wanted to compliment a few of our educators. This past Saturday, I was at my grandson's football game in at the Cypress-Fairbanks Sports Association out in Fairfield, and was so amazed when first I had a teacher come up to me, Diane Prestridge, who taught my eldest granddaughter at Alton, is now at Swinky, and asked her, if she had someone playing, and she was there to watch a student. And then next I saw Cheryl Fisher, our principal at Keith, and she was there to watch students who were playing football and cheering. And I just think that's so commendable that our educators care that much about their students that they use their personal time on the weekend. And I will tell you, it was a 1 o'clock game and it was very hot out there. But that they care that much about their students that they took their personal time to attend their games. I think that's pretty phenomenal. I also want to say, recently I visited the campuses of Cy Ranch, Cy Fair, and Arnold Middle School, and had great visits, and I'm so impressed by what I see taking place in those schools, and just the warm feeling you get from staff and students when you walk through the door. You can really feel a family atmosphere. And then finally, to thank the administration for the opportunity to recently attend the Texas Association of School Boards conference here in Houston. There was so much great information, and as a first-time trustee, still in my first year, I did learn how much I don't know. So it was very humbling, a very educational experience. And Dr. Henry, I appreciate being given that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. Mr. Ryan?
Yeah, Debbie, that's an awesome reflection when you go to events out in the district and you see the teachers, the classroom teachers on their own time coming to support their students. I think that's remarkable. A while back, Bob and Lyda had us, it was their brainchild for us to visit all the campuses as a board as much as we could. And Bob, once again, I commend you for that idea. I think it's spectacular. I got to visit Cypress Lakes, Dean, and Goodson Middle School. And what's unique when we get to visit these schools is that each school has its own identity and its own culture. And I think that is so awesome within our district, because it's not, you can't go to Dean Middle School and then go to Arnold and go, well, that's I just saw basically every middle school in the district. That's not the case in Cy-Fair ISD, and I'm very appreciative of the fact that our administration lets our campuses develop their own culture on each particular campus, because you can see it on the staff members, you can see it in the students, of the pride that they take in their individual schools, and I think that's amazing. But I also want to point out, at Dean Middle School right now, it's pretty much a war zone because they're going through a lot of construction. And one thing that Heather told me while I was visiting there, she had nothing but rave reviews to say about Matt Morgan and his staff, and so I wanted to publicly acknowledge Matt and his staff, because they have to have a whole separate bus unloading zone that's truly in the middle of a road, right across the street from a business park. And what Heather said was that Matt and his team were there from before school, and then even that entire first week of school, to make sure our students got on and off the bus safely. And so many times you'll hear that the people in the ivory tower, so to speak, have no idea what's going on in the campuses. And that's not the case in our district. Every campus we visit, they talk about the support that they get from the administration, and I think that's spectacular. And Mark, I think that's a direct reflection of your leadership, so I'm grateful for you as well. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Mr. Covey?
Just kind of back up what Debbie said, because we all got to attend TASB. And I'm going to say something about this board because I've never served on another school district board, and I'll tell you right now, I never will. But I will tell you that this board is just astonishing in what they do when we came up with the idea of visiting schools, this board bought into it, hook, line, and sinker, and they enjoy doing it. And I'm going to tell you, in being on the TASB board, when I share that with other people from around the state, it's not a regular practiced procedure for board members to take time to go in and actually meet with people, and that's even in small districts. And so I commend this board for being willing to do that. And much like Debbie, I really enjoyed going to TASB. Number one, I enjoy meeting people from other districts and learning about what they do, but I also enjoy being around our people and learning more about them and working together. It's just awesome. And I think it's what you see up here, or you see 7 board members that divide up the district every year, and we go out and see 14 and if we keep building them, it's going to get up even more. But we get to go and round and visit each one of them. And it's a visit. We're not there to check them out and make sure that they're following protocol and doing everything. We're there to actually see what's going on. And one of my favorite things to do is go into a classroom and actually watch the teaching happening. And our teachers are open to that. And our students, which is amazing too, they could care less if I'm standing in the back. You know, they're happy if you come in, but then they turn around and they start their work. I'm just going to say, this district, and I commend the administration for allowing us to do that too. So thank you very much, and then I'll put a plug in because we have a Business Education Forum coming up on October the 24th. If any of you are interested in going, we welcome you. If you come with somebody from the board or you come with an administrator and you bring a business person, you get a free lunch, so come on.
Thank you, Mr. Covey. We're going to go back to Mr. Ryan.
I forgot, Chief Bragg, Cy-Fair had their homecoming a week or two ago, and my son, coming back from the dance with his date, legitimately had car trouble.
Unlike
I say that because he's my son. But his car had died right at Telge and West Road, or Telge and Tuckerton. And the Cy-Fair PD officer came on the scene, kept them safe, stayed within the entire time until the wrecker could get there because he was on a main thoroughfare and they had to have the car towed. And I asked, and the first thing Tanner said was, he goes, Dad, he goes, the policeman was awesome. Said he's a super nice guy. He stayed with us the whole time. And I said, well, what was his name? He goes, I don't know. But he knows who he is, or she knows who she is. And so I just want to tell you how grateful I am as a parent on this one to have our police department there. And, I mean, he literally was there within 2 minutes of the car breaking down. And I'm sure my son's date's father was happy that he was there as well.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Dr. Ogletree?
Yes, I'd like to just echo the board. One of the real treasures of being serving on the board is visiting the schools, and thank Bob for getting that initiated. And it lets you see up front the hard work and the teamwork that goes into making what Cy-Fair is, what it is today. And my last 2 visits were just mind-boggling. That visiting Cypress Springs High School and Thornton Middle School, I couldn't be happier or prouder of the excellent work that is being done there, the leadership, the camaraderie, and we just have a good district, and like to just echo that.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. Ms. Hartley?
Okay, I think we're all of one like mind tonight. But to piggyback on what my fellow trustees have said, I had the pleasure of bringing my sister-in-law and my niece and my two nephews to the football game on Saturday night. And my niece is a senior in a small town in Mississippi, and her class is 25 people in her whole senior class. And they just, it was just so much fun. And the boys play football, and they loved watching the football teams at the Berry Center, and it was so great. But I kept thinking about how her little class of 25 and our class of 800, the spirit is the same, the emotion is the same at the game. And I had decided, too, to thank our administrators and our staff and our teachers, and from bus drivers to custodians to our cafeteria workers. They are creating this wonderful sense of community at each of their schools. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who impacts our children every day. In my last two visits, I had the pleasure of going to the new arrivals centers. And it's amazing what wonderful jobs the teachers there are doing. Each student would stand up and tell me what country they're from. And it's at least 10 different ones in every classroom. So I want to applaud our NAC teachers too. And just say thank you for honoring those Heart Saver heroes tonight. That was amazing. We were at the graduation and we saw those ladies in action, and they just did an amazing job and really did save a life. So thank you for honoring that tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Hartley. Mr. Jackson?
I think we're all pretty much talking about the same things, but viewed from a slightly different angle. With respect to the TASB, I would like to tip my hat tonight to my colleague, Ms. Christine Hartley. I had a presentation. I was part of 6 trustees to present on pre-K education. 3 of the trustees chose their work commitments over being able to come to Houston. And so I turned to Christine and said, help. And so in the process, she went through over 150 pages worth of research, and she also did 2 of the presentations that other trustees were meant to do, and she learned it all in a twinkling of an eye. But sitting back and watching her present the information, not only was she knowledgeable, but the presentation was superb. And it was well received. We had both trustees as well as administrative people from around the state who came up and commented on what you did. In addition, I've completed 8 of my school visits thus far, and I'm not going to name them all off, but a couple of observations. One, all of these schools had earned distinctions, one of which had earned, actually 2 of which had earned all the distinctions possible, meaning these 2 schools were among only 200 schools across the thousands across the state of Texas to earn all distinctions. But for those who did not earn a distinction in every category, when you take a look at the numbers, it was for minor differences, a fraction of a point on attendance rate. Otherwise, they too would have earned all distinctions. And some of these are very difficult to earn distinctions year after year, particularly on closing the achievement gap, because after you've closed it, how much more can you actually close? So a second tip of the hat to our high-performing campuses. And what's interesting about this district, where every campus met standard and passed all 4 indices, we're blessed. Every one of our campuses is high-performing. A second observation, I had the opportunity to see our technology roll out in the various stages of evolution, and it will continue to evolve as we continue our rollout. But at one campus, that being Cook Middle School, and they're one of the ones that had 6 distinctions, I saw the promise of technology finally being delivered in the classroom. And it kind of takes your breath away, and it reaffirms that the decision that we made as trustees was in fact the appropriate one, sending that bond proposal out to the voters. but seeing that at work in the classroom and the response of the students says the voters made the right decision in approving it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I'm going to swing back to Mr. Covey, who has
I'm sorry, I did forget one thing, and that's I've had the opportunity the last 2 years to serve on the TASB committee that chooses Superintendent of the Year from the state. And the first year we had 18 applicants, and this last year we had 16. And I will just tell you, and this without blowing smoke up somebody's skirt over here, but the decision we made for our superintendent 5 years ago is nothing short of superb, because even looking at those top 37 that I have seen, ours stands far and above any of those that have been up for the award. Thank you, Mark.
Wow. It has been a great month to visit schools and to attend the conference. I don't want to go on and on, but I will tell you that it was really kind of interesting to visit Joel this time and see the pre-K through second grade center being built just across the street, and to think for a moment what kind of opportunity we'll have to test out a lot of great ideas and see how that goes with this new facility that we're all looking so much forward to seeing. So we appreciate that very much. Our next agenda item is citizen participation. Patrons who have duly registered per policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern or interest to the district, other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. I would like to remind the audience and the viewers that the comments of the speakers reflect their own positions or opinions. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments of speakers. Please understand that a lack of response from board member does not indicate agreement or approval or disagreement or disapproval of the comments. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Bob Covey, our secretary of the board, will be the designated timekeeper, and there is a color-coordinated system on the podium, and I would ask the speakers to come to the podium right here. And when you see the green, that means you have some time remaining. The yellow means you have 30 seconds remaining, if it works properly. And 4 means red means you need to wind up very quickly. So we have 4 speakers tonight. The first one is Paul Allen. Will Mr. Allen please come to this podium?
Good evening, board. Good evening, citizens. I am Paul Allen. I am from VFW 8905 in Cypress. I'm coming here for 2 agendas. The first is to let you know that our membership is open to the public. If you need our assistance in any way, call. Good Lord willing, it'll happen. My second agenda comes from that phone call that we had a little while back from Cypress Ranch. They asked us to present the colors for the theater group. We threw together a color guard, and it happened. I would like to thank them for that, and I would like to pass something on to you. If you did not see it, you missed a heck of a play. I thought I was with a bunch of veterans. Trump mouth. I don't know how many in here is as old as I am. I spent 3.5 years in Vietnam myself. And you probably know what kind of receiving we got when we came home. It was not pretty. But we had a standing ovation from the students that made all that go away for a while. And in closing, if you need anything from our post, ask. We're right off of 290. Good Lord willing, we'll provide it for you. Thank you. In closing, if you have an extra $1 or $5 in your budget, I know those students over there at Cy Ranch can use it for their trip to Washington, D.C.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Allen. Our second speaker is Jonathan Swarisky. I hope I did that pretty good. You can help correct me if I didn't.
Gotten a lot worse before, so thank you. My name is Jonathan Swirsky. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak, and thank you for all of you that are here tonight. I'd like to speak about the district's current bathroom policy regarding students who identify as transgender, specifically the safety of the current policy. Back in May, as you may know, the president issued an order, essentially, asking all schools in America to adopt a certain policy that would allow students who identify as transgender to use the restroom and locker room of their choosing. I contacted Cy-Fair ISD, and the board was very prompt in responding, and I really appreciate that. They did not ignore me. They answered my question very clearly, which I appreciate. However, the current policy, as stated from the board, is that it is a case-by-case policy. While I understand this is a very sensitive situation, and the board probably wishes to avoid controversy, which I do sympathize with, case by case must be assumed to mean that anything can happen. Not that the board would allow anything to happen without a policy, but that they may decide one thing in one scenario and another in another scenario. With that, we have to assume that there may be situations in which students who identify as transgender will be allowed to use the restroom of that which is opposite of their biological birth. The reason I'm concerned about this is because I believe this creates safety concerns for all students, including transgender students. I think that although the board may have a vetting policy because they haven't explained it, I don't know that there is. They just said it's a case by case, so I'm not assuming that they don't. But as we've seen in other scenarios around the nation, and I don't know that it's happened in Cy-Fair, but in other scenarios around the nation, students can identify as transgender whether they are or not, with basically disingenuous motives. I'm a youth pastor, I work with teenagers, so I know that many teenagers are excellent examples of character. However, in working with teenagers, I also know that there are some that are not excellent examples of character. As a result, I think that it would be in the best interest that for the safety of all the students in the district, including those that are transgender, that there be a clear policy established. I suggest that maybe allowing transgender students to use restrooms that are single use would definitely be safe for them. I understand, again, that this is a sensitive issue, but identifying it as case by case is essentially failing to be proactive. It invites reactivity. And I would encourage the board to please make a safe and clear policy for everyone involved. And again, this is also for the safety of transgender students. I'm not accusing transgender students of being the ones that are going to necessarily do something inappropriate. I think that, for instance, a transgender student who is a girl that identifies as a male might be put in a very dangerous situation where they could go into a male locker room or bathroom. So I'm also concerned for their safety as well as for the safety of all students. I appreciate the time. I really thank you for allowing me to speak, but I do encourage you to please reevaluate the issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our third speaker is Daniel Jones.
Evening, board and assembled peoples. In 2006, a woman had a psychologist pour acid into her eyes because she identified as disabled. I'm here today to stand for common sense, and I'm literally shocked that we've come to the point that we're debating the issue of letting boys into girls' dressing rooms, locker rooms, restrooms, vice versa. A man is not a woman, and a woman is not a man, regardless of what anyone may identify as, suffer from, or wish to be. Choosing to identify as anything does not make it so, and does not give anyone the right to force that delusion on others who don't share it. Sexual gratification involves more than just intercourse. President Obama's order compelling schools to regulate locker rooms, changing rooms, bathrooms based on gender identity rather than actual sex is an outrageous abuse of power. In the most private and intimate setting, it co-opts the rest of the entire school body without their consent to participate in the sexual gratification fantasies of the mentally ill. Words like compassion and respect are used as tools for forcing this onto our society. Coercing people to participate in a demonstrably false delusion is not compassion or respect. Congratulating and encouraging people to mutilate themselves because of what they identify as, or to pour acid in their eyes to blind themselves because of what they identify as, is not compassion or respect. Marginalizing and demonizing people who refuse to recant their own common sense or to be pressured into keeping silent while this issue is hoisted upon them is not compassion or respect. Telling a young girl that if she doesn't want a boy in her changing room or bathroom, that she must be the one to use a separate special bathroom is subjecting that student to all of the same psychological impact, injury, and marginalization that is claimed as the reason for the policy change in the first place. Now, that's obvious and clear, so do we not care about her or others like her? As a parent of children in this school district, I call for a return to truth and the protection of our school children. I call for the rejection of President Obama's unjust and unlawful order and a clear commitment to school policy that reflects biological common sense and community standards of decency and safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Our fourth speaker is David M. Wilson.
Dr. Henry, President Mongoya, Board Trustees, I want to thank you for the opportunity to present comments for your consideration. My name is Dave Wilson. I'm the director of the Cypress, Texas Tea Party. I have 2 comment subjects, and then I'd like to offer a prayer for your meeting. First, I want to request that you provide non-confidential board member packet documents to the public as an addendum or an attachment to the board meeting minutes that are posted online. Both Lone Star College board meetings and the Harris County Board of Education currently have this practice. If you look at the agenda tonight, you're going to see that you're going to be awarding competitive bids for significant amounts, and the public should be able to review the bid tabulation prior to meetings. You'll also be approving changes to district policies, and those changes should be available to the public as well. And I know that Ms. Nicole Ray has graciously provided me with the information and what I've requested in the past, but true transparency would make all this information available without having to make a special request. I agree that the agenda length would be increased substantially. However, I want to let you know that the agenda for the September 20th Harris County Board of Education meeting was 702 pages long, and it's posted on the website. Secondly, I want to ask you to return the invocation to the board meeting agenda. Cypress, Texas is a community that has a strong faith in God. As leaders elected by this community, your leadership is expected to reflect the heart of the community. I understand that changes may need to be made to ensure that the process does not discriminate against minority faiths in determining who may offer a prayer. Or there may be concerns by some that prayers by some religions may be offensive to some. The Second Amendment of the Constitution isn't conditional on whether or not someone's offended. Prayer can bring together citizens of all backgrounds, encourage them to participate in the workings of their government, and it helps them recognize the solemn responsibility that's being upheld by each of you at these meetings. And I'd like to close by offering my own prayer for divine assistance for this meeting. Heavenly Father, I thank you for your guidance that you give us in your word. I pray that you would anoint each of these board members with your wisdom to make godly decisions for the citizens of Cypress this evening. Bless them and each person here in attendance with your grace and your peace. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Our next part of the agenda is our reports. On Thursday night, we heard agenda item 4B, but I understand since we did have some comments about that item, the administration will provide some additional comments on the 2016-17 board monitoring system. Ms. Hall?
And Board of Trustees, based on the input and feedback received from you on Thursday evening, we will be making some modifications to the established target objectives that we shared with you along with the established targets. Once all of those adjustments and changes are made, we will be sending you a copy of that revised document in your Friday packet along with an explanation of the changes that were made, and there will definitely be the opportunity for you to provide any additional feedback or input at that time.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. And then we'll go back to item A. The administration will provide an oral report on the Human Resources Department. Dr. Stewart?
Yes, I'll get us started.
Okay.
Dr. Henry, President Mangoya, Board of Trustees, I, as Associate Superintendent for Human Resources, I'm extremely honored and excited to lead a team of experienced, professional, fun-loving staff. Many of them are here tonight, so first and foremost, I'd like for you all to stand if you are a member of the Human Resources team. And let's give them a great round of applause. Thank you. Now at this time, I'll turn the presentation over to the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Sharita Franklin.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Henry and Associates. On the behalf of your Human Resources team, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity to provide a brief presentation on how we serve the Cy-Fair ISD community. As the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, I serve on a leadership team with 4 directors and 1 investigator. The directors and investigator lead different work teams within our department to include professional and substitute staffing, employee relations, paraprofessional and ancillary staffing and employee relations, records, leaves, compensation, credentials, and most recently, badging services. Today's presentation is a brief overview of our department. Please know that HR's impact on the district's human capital goal will be presented at a later date. In Human Resources, our mission is to collaboratively serve our community by providing the best employees for our students. We serve the Cypress-Fairbanks ISD community by recruiting talent, efficient and compliant employment processing, consultation and guidance to our stakeholders, and ongoing collaboration with departments to respond to emerging district needs. As the 3rd largest district in Texas and one of the largest employers in Northwest Houston, we employ approximately 15,000 full-time positions, 2,000 substitutes, and approximately 1,000 temporaries for a total of 18,000 employees. Annually, we receive approximately 84,000 applications for our online postings. Our online postings include industry-related positions in the areas of skilled trades, food production, transportation, custodial, law enforcement, and non-teaching professionals. We host an annual career fair at the Berry Center, as well as advertise through various trade organizations. We also utilize our school buses to recruit in our local community. For teachers, our recruiting strategy includes major universities within the state of Texas, Michigan, and Colorado, many of whom are depicted there on the screen. Our district employs a large number of teachers who obtain their teaching certification by going through an alternative certification program. Human Resources recruiters serve on the advisory boards for the major alternative certification programs to include ACT Houston, Texas Teachers, Inspire Texas, Lone Star College, and the Workforce Solutions Group. Serving on university advisory boards allow our recruiters the opportunity to provide input into the teacher preparation programs based upon the needs of our district. Human Resources also partners with universities by providing student teacher placements and classroom observation hours for university students. These partnerships allow principals increased visibility of potential candidates as well as a glimpse into our classrooms for those university students. I would also like to highlight our U of H Downtown Partnership, which provides our largest number of bilingual certified applicants. Our U of H Teach Houston and Texas A&M Aggie Teach Partnership provides a significant number of math and science applicants for our district as well. Currently, we are partnering with Sam Houston State University for a para-educator to teacher program. We had nearly 80 para-educators show interest in this opportunity. In 2015-16, our recruiting efforts resulted in 2,600 new hires, 1,000 substitute hires, and 300 temporary hires. So once an employee is hired, Human Resources is responsible for the federal and state hiring requirements for all employee types. We track all of our teachers to ensure they have the appropriate certifications for the areas in which they teach. We also track our appraisers to make sure they have the necessary training required by law prior to evaluating our certified staff. Another aspect of our employment process is proficiency testing for our campus paraeducators. Human Resources administers a proficiency test as a means to assess a certain level of knowledge for all of our campus paraeducators. Compensation administration, to include the initial salary and stipend determination, promotional and pay increase calculations, and the corresponding data entry is all done in Human Resources. Another aspect of the employment process and another way we serve our Cyfair community is through the criminal history background process. In 2015-16, Human Resources conducted over 12,000 criminal history checks on new hires, substitutes, temporaries, volunteers, and contractors. Badging services is also a function of Human Resources. When an employee, volunteer, or contractor passes the background process, they are eligible for an ID badge. For many of our campuses and departments, their badge serves as a key to access our buildings. In 2015-16, our badging department printed 20,000 new lost or damaged badges. After an employee is hired, Human Resources maintains the official electronic personnel file. When an employee leaves the district, Human Resources is responsible for the online resignation and the final paperwork required to remove them from the system. While our department is widely known for our recruiting and employment processing, another way that we collaboratively serve the Cyfair community that requires significant diplomacy, care, and respect is through our employee relations support. Our support comes in the form of facilitating processes for employees with identified areas of development. We also work collaboratively with staff development to support our current evaluation system, as well as the implementation of the new evaluation system, CF tests. We assist employees who have a physical or a mental impairment that may need a reasonable accommodation to be successful in their positions. And we meet the district's legal provisions for approximately 1,300 employees who are placed on family medical leave or temporary disability leave each year. Human Resources is also instrumental in supporting campuses and departments with investigations of inappropriate conduct and conflict resolution. We also provide the district's response to federal and state agencies such as unemployment, Department of Labor, and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Other areas of campus and department support include safety-sensitive Department of Transportation and reasonable suspicion drug and alcohol testing program. Next, I would like to share with you how HR has served our greater Cyfair community. In December, Human Resources, in collaboration with the Counseling, Business, and Finance departments, collected blankets, socks, and gloves for the homeless. These items were handed out directly to the homeless community on Christmas Eve by a member of the HR team and her family. Each year, Human Resources conducts a presentation to 8th grade students who attend the JA Inspire program hosted by Curriculum and Instruction. We also serve as mock interviewers for aspiring leaders and bus buddies for students at the beginning of the year. In July of this year, we collected money for the counseling department to donate towards the Sarah Simple Fund. The Sarah Simple Fund is used to help families in need due to a recent disaster or personal circumstance. So moving forward, in 2016, we will continue our collaboration with our internal stakeholders through an absence reduction program, the automation of internal processes, and the implementation of an interviewing software. One of the district's goals is to reduce the number of days a teacher is out of the classroom. In collaboration with school leadership, curriculum and business and finance, Human Resources will review the data to determine if there's a measurable impact to the strategy that we implemented this year. In collaboration with the Technology Department, Human Resources will implement an electronic onboarding process for new hires. The completion, submission, and approval of new hire paperwork will all be done electronically. This will allow more time for employees to be orientated to the mission, culture, policies, and standards of our great district. Another initiative in Human Resources is the implementation of an interviewing software that will allow the hiring manager to evaluate a candidate based on a brief video interview from the candidate's smart device. So this concludes our presentation. And again, on the behalf of your Human Resources Department, thank you for the opportunity to show how we collaboratively serve our great district. Do you have any questions?
For a very extensive report. We appreciate it very much. Do we have any questions from board members? Dr.
Just
Ogletree?
a comment. Thank you for the report. It was very eye-opening and lets us know what an awesome task you all have before you, from assisting the district, even in helping them with interviews. And the applications that you go through each year are just mind-boggling. Excellent report. Great job you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you very much, Ms. Franklin and Dr. Stewart. Thank you. During the course of the Committee of the Whole meeting, it was the consensus of the board that the following action items be approved as submitted or amended. 5, action items, consensus. The board will consider approving the tax refunds of $500 or greater for Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. The board will consider approving the minutes of the September 12, 2016 regular meeting. On Thursday at the Committee of the Whole, the following non-consensus items were placed on the consensus agenda. D, the board will consider awarding bids and contracts and/or authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item. 1, contracted educational services and professional development services. 2, cosmetology, equipment and supplies. 3, grease trap, sand oil, solids, interceptor, line cleaning. 4, metal detection equipment for food services. 5, print cartridges, OEM, remanufactured or compatible. 6, video security system upgrade. E, the board will consider approving on first reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies. 1, CLE local, buildings, grounds, and equipment management flag displays. That's an addition. 2, DNB local performance appraisal, evaluation of other professional employees, a revision. F, the board will consider approving on second reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies. 1, BBG local board member compensation and expenses. And again, I will say this is part of our travel expenses. We are not salaried in this Board of Trustees. 2, BJCF local superintendent non-renewal revision. BQ local planning and decision-making process revision. CLB local buildings, grounds, and equipment management maintenance, which is a revision. 5, DEC local compensation and benefits, leaves and absences revision. 6, EFD local instructional resources, field trips revision. 7, EHBAF local special education, video and audio monitoring revision. 8, FEB local attendance, attendance accounting revision. 9, FFC local student welfare, student support services. 10, FFH local student welfare, freedom from discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. 11, FL local student records revision. 12, FM local student activities. 13, FMG local student activities travel. And G, the board will consider approving the CenterPoint Energy Houston Electric LLC blanket utility easement to provide electrical service for Bain Elementary School. So all of those are items on the consent agenda. May I have a motion?
Madam President, I move that the board approve the consent agenda as presented and/or amended.
Do I have a second? Second, Ms. Hartley. Is there any discussion, or does anyone need any of these items removed?
Under F11, student records, we are removing student phone numbers from the directory information. I know I've had an explanation, but I thought it'd be good for our parents out there to hear why we're doing this. So could somebody share why we are doing this and taking that away?
I don't mind. My department handles public information at request, so I can answer that, Mr. Covey. The FL local is our policy that defines directory information, and it's kind of a reading of both federal and state law. When you read those together, we have to identify what we consider to be directory information, which will be information that will be potentially published or released unless a parent chooses to withhold that. That's the typical type of stuff, names in football programs, honor roll, achievement, name, address. And so it's pretty benign information, but parents still every year get the opportunity to opt out of providing that. But we typically had name, address, and telephone number identified as directory information. But as so many people have moved to cell phone numbers as their home numbers and don't always have landlines, we found that people were often less inclined or did not necessarily want their cell phone numbers listed as directory information, and got some feedback on that. And so we decided that it really didn't affect our ability to publish in directories or rosters and things like that to remove phone numbers. And so we elected to do that. And Teresa was real helpful with the input on that and gathering input from the community and parents. And that was the response that we received. And so we responded to it. Question?
Yeah, and I think there was, maybe I'm misinterpreting this, but wasn't there also because we were having requests for information and we were not selling this information to people that were using it, but there were people that were requesting it and misusing what?
Well, yes. That's kind of what I was alluding to, but sure, I'll talk about that specific situation. Well, we did because, they weren't misusing it, so I want to be clear, but we did have a local vendor that would request directory information, recognizing that many people were using their cell phone numbers, and then use the cell phone numbers for an app called Remind 101, and use that to push information out to parents by school, because you can sort directory information by school. And it just gave the impression, inaccurate impression, that the text messages were coming from the school. So it created confusion. And so the feedback that we got on that was that they would prefer for us not to provide cell phone numbers. And the way to do that was to amend how we define directory information, which did not impact, as I said, the majority of the users, for PTO directories, football programs, etc. We were able to remove that phone number. But yes, we did have that situation that prompted the community and parent input that I shared.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have a motion and second on the floor. All those that agree, please signify by raising your right hand. All those that are opposed by the same sign. Motion carried. All right, let's go to our action items non-consensus. The board will consider approving the 85th legislative session priorities developed by the Community Leadership Committee. We did have a presentation on Thursday night about that. And we do have a couple of CLC members here if any board member has any questions. But to begin with, may I have a motion, please?
Madam President, I move that the board approve the 85th legislative session priorities developed by the Community Leadership Committee, CLC.
Second.
Mr. Covey? Do we have any questions? Mr. Jackson, do you have a question?
No, I was raising my hand to make the motion.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll be quick. We'll get you next time.
I have a comment, Darcy, because.
Okay, sure.
And wanted to thank Dave and Nicole because I unfortunately had to miss the meeting on Thursday. But the report that the CLC did Thursday night was superb, in my opinion, and really addressed our needs. And they were very concise and clear in what they'll be doing, so I appreciate that. But I really appreciate our tech department, Dave and Nicole, you guys, getting that up right away to where I didn't have to, and I'm sure Christine and others that missed the meeting would say the same thing, where we had access to the meeting literally immediately. And so I'm very grateful to you guys for that. Thank you very much. That's it. No questions about the presentation, just kudos.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Any questions about this? May I have a motion? Oh, I already got a motion. I'm sorry.
And a second.
And a second. All right. All those that agree with the motion, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. That'll move us on to B. The board will consider adopting a resolution acknowledging October as School Priority Month. And I believe, Mr. Covey, you're on.
Just to kind of share, this is a pilot program that's been floated out by a school district in Aledo, Texas. They are basically started about 4 or 5 years ago with Make Education a Priority, and it was trying to push that public schools are doing good jobs, and it was getting the information out. And since that, and I think you've heard me say this before, San Antonio came up with the Go Public Bexar County, and now the Houston area has got Go Public Gulf Coast. But they came up with the idea that we also needed to bring all of our elected officials into the schools so they could see what was going on in our schools and give them a little bit better information when they start to go into their legislative session, because in listening to some of the legislators' comments, I'm concerned they've not been in school in quite a few years. And so they basically had come up with this the School Priority Month resolution. And right now, we are the 34th district that's joined the pilot program. There's small districts and large districts, and all of them are doing what we're doing. They've made it an agenda item. And our district, although October is the month, we also have that as another plug-in, Business Education Forum, October the 24th. So we're extending October until the 44th day, and therefore we're doing it November the 14th. And that's when we could work it all in and bring in our legislators. We also thought it was a pretty good idea to bring in newly elected legislators and be able to bring them to our district. And the district is putting together a very interesting idea on how to bring them in and give them options on what they can say. What they can see, not what they can say, but get them to visit the places they would really like to see what's going on. If they're interested in math, they can go into math classroom, or if they're interested in music, or if they're interested in whatever, and set up a menu for them to take a look at. It's an excellent idea that our district has come up with, and when I mentioned it to the people up in Aledo today, they thought that was an awesome idea. So there's all kinds of things going on. But anyway, the resolution reads, it says, School Priority Month Resolution, Acknowledgement of Engagement. Whereas the system of Texas public education is founded on the principle of necessity for a prosperous society and for individual opportunity, and whereas the success of our local public schools is dependent on the axiom of community engagement and a shared responsibility, and whereas the collective efforts by parents, educators, and the community foster the opportunities for student success, and whereas these accomplishments represent the fabric of local education, Therefore, be it resolved that as a biennial event, the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District hereby acknowledges the value of engagement by inviting into our local schools a representation of elected officials from all levels of government during the month of October and November 2016. And be it resolved that that this engagement period, known as School Priority Month, provides a pathway for honor, respect, and communication between our elected officials and our local public schools. And be it resolved that beneficial experiences are shaped as our public officials observe and interact with students and educators alike. And be it resolved that these engagements create new partnerships with our public officials and foster long-term, meaningful relationships for the benefit of our future, our children. We hereby adopt this School Priority Month resolution as an acknowledgement of engagement on this 10th day in the month of October during the year of 2016 by the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Mr. Covey. May I have a motion? Ms. Blacksher?
I move that the board adopt a resolution acknowledging October as a school priority month.
May I have a second? Dr. Ogletree is second. Any further comments? All those that approve this, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous again. All right, we're down to item number C. The board will consider approving and submitting to the Commissioner of Education a request for maximum class size waiver. All right, may I have a motion?
I'm sorry.
Dr. Ogletree?
You got it, John?
Yeah, excuse me. I move that the board approve the submission of a maximum class size waiver request to the Texas Education Agency as recommended by the Associate Superintendent for Human Resources and Student Services in her memorandum of September 30th, 2016.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Hartley. Any discussion on this item? Any discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those that approve, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. That gets us to item number H. The board will review and consider adoption of revised board operating guidelines outlining the duties of a public officer. Is there a need for a closed session on anyone's? Does anyone want to have a closed session on this? No. May I have a motion then?
Madam President, I move that the board authorize execution of the revised board operating guidelines.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Covey. Any comments? Yes,
One.
Mr. Covey.
I just want to commend the board that we are going to do this in front of an open meeting because once again, this board has found a way to basically let people know that we're doing this the way it's supposed to be done, transparently and out and open, and that we are going to follow these guidelines as board members. So I commend this board for doing this in front of all the community. Even though there's only a few of you here, we hope there's a lot of them out there on TV.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Thank you, Mr. Covey. Any other comments? All those that approve this motion, please raise your right hand. Carries unanimously again. The board will consider approval of the contract of employment for the superintendent as discussed in closed session. We are going to go into closed session for that, and then we will come back out. But before we go into closed session, I want to ask Dr. Henry to do the superintendent's briefing.
Thank you, Madam President. Almost 50 high schools represented CFISD as the district hosted the Region 4 Texas Association of Future Educators Competition Boot Camp and Teacher Leader Basic Training at Cypress Ranch High School. TAFE is a student organization created to allow young men and women an opportunity to explore the teaching profession. The CFISD Health Expo, benefiting the health organization and physical educators, was held this past Saturday, October 8th. Cy-Fair Houston Chamber of Commerce partnered with the districts on the event. Numerous health and wellness opportunities were offered to parents, employees, and the community. The event benefits the Hope Scholarship Fund, and I can say I went out there and it was a great event, and certainly we appreciate the community programs here in CFISD working with the Chamber of Commerce to make it a great day for the community. CFISD will host College Night on Tuesday, October 11th and Wednesday, October 12th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Berry Center. All 11th and 12th grade students and parents are invited to attend and will be able to browse and visit with representatives from over 200 colleges, universities, technical, and specialty schools, as well as all branches of the military and the U.S. Service Academies. And I would add to this also, it used to be one night, but last year we had 11,000 students show up on one night, so we've made it 2 nights now, so we can actually move around a little bit in the Berry Center. And that's a good problem to have. Governor Greg Abbott has declared October as Human Resources Awareness Month to honor the vital role human resources professionals play in today's workforce. In addition, the Texas Association of School Personnel Administrators designated October 12th as Texas Education Human Resources Day to specifically highlight the work of the HR professionals in Texas school districts, and we were able to see some of the great work that they are doing tonight in their presentation, and we certainly salute you. I would like to remind the board and community sponsors about our Salute to the Stars Gala on Thursday, October 13th at the Berry Center. The gala is sponsored by the Cy-Fair Educational Foundation. The second annual Battle at the Berry Marching Band Contest will be held Saturday, October 15th at the Cy-Fair FCU Stadium. The 2016 event is being hosted by Cypress Lakes, the Cypress Lakes High School Marching Band. 16 of the finest bands from the greater Houston area will join 9 CFISD marching bands for the day-long event. Tickets can be purchased at the stadium gates for $10 each. Children age 5 and under will be admitted free of charge. CFISD will celebrate Red Ribbon Week, October 24th through the 28th. This national campaign is designed to encourage healthy, drug-free, and violence-free lifestyles among youth. Red Ribbon Week is the oldest and largest drug prevention campaign in the country. CFISD will host the TASB Education Business Forum on Monday, October 24th, at the Berry Center from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Registration and a light breakfast will begin at 8 a.m. The forum will provide an opportunity for businesses and community leaders to join with education leaders to discuss the most effective approaches to partnering with for student success. CFISD will support the American Heart Association Northwest Harris County Heart Walk, on Saturday, October 29th. Last year, the district raised $15,000 toward fighting heart disease, stroke, and cardiovascular disease. When final numbers are in, we anticipate CFISD's contributions to this year's walk will be similar, if not more, than last year. I want to remind everyone, employees, community members, that we will have the privilege to exercise one of our greatest rights, voting on November 8th, 2016. Early voting dates are October 24th through November 4th. I think more than ever it's important that you go out and express your views by taking advantage of the great right we have to vote. Thank you, Madam President and trustees.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. Can I have a motion to go into closed session? Second, Mr. Ryan. Well, we will go into closed session. We'll come back out and talk about the item that I've already read. Thank you.